Hello again, everybody. This is Rusty, aka William Robinson, aka Dr. Robinson, and I am the Blues Doctor. And this is my podcast, The Blues Doctor Recommends, and we're glad you're here. Today's show will be an abbreviated version of the podcast because my producer and I are just about to go on a 2-week road trip. Yep, we'll be going to a variety of places, including several hotels that are reputed to be haunted. Those would include the Basin Park Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, the St. James Hotel in Red Wing, Minnesota, the Totten Trail House in Totten Trail, North Dakota. Then we'll be going from there to the Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota, and we'll see some of the petroglyphs, among other things, or ancient stone carvings, some of which appear to be of Bigfoot type creatures, and some appear to be UFOs and other mysterious things. We'll also visit Deadwood, South Dakota in the Black Hills. And there's a number of buildings there that are reported to be haunted, and I'd like to take a look at some of those. Heading back down south, we'll stop at the Texas Bigfoot Museum, which I haven't seen before, and that's in Jefferson, Texas. And then in addition to today's video, we'll upload a couple of other shorts, and we'll make a few on-the-road videos to share with you. So hit the thumbs up button, hit like and subscribe, share, make comments, all of those things, and we'll get to it. We're going to combine the calendar and medicine segments this week because I want to let you know about a recent report I saw. This is actually a press release from July 23rd. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has said it will officially remove the preservative thimerosal from all flu vaccines distributed in the United States. That was based on a report on June 24th from the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, or ACIP, from the Centers for Disease Control, which voted against the use of thimerosal vaccines. In their presentation, the Advisory Committee called thimerosal a known neurotoxin and advised that banning vaccines using this ingredient would be a good place to start with making America healthy again. However, it was acknowledged at the same meeting that there is no proven link between thimerosal and any neurologic illness. In fact, to quote one of the panel members, multiple studies have shown no safety concerns with thimerosal in terms of causing autism or neurodevelopmental issues. They cited the World Health Organization and many other U.S. and international scientific bodies. So why is it that thimerosal is so controversial? Part of the reason is that it was mistakenly linked to autism by a now discredited and retracted study. Now, this is complicated, but I'll do my best to explain it. A few years ago, there was a woman named Lynn Redwood. She was representing something called the Children's Health Defense, which was an anti-vaccine group. Ms. Redwood gave a presentation to the CDC in which she cited a paper that she claimed proved a link between thimerosal and autism. This paper was written supposedly by somebody named Berman, B-E-R-M-A-N-R-F, and it was in the journal Neurotoxicology in 2008. It was titled Low-Level Neonatal Thimerosal Exposure, Long-Term Consequences in the Brain. And it claimed that a group of newborn rats were exposed to thimerosal and that they developed long-term neuroimmune effects. This citation appears to refer to Dr. Robert F. Berman, B-E-R-M-A-N, a professor emeritus at the University of California, Davis, whose research was focused on brain injury and neurodevelopmental disorders. However, when he was asked by the press about this particular paper, Dr. Berman said, "I don't have a publication in neurotoxicology by that title." He went on to say, "The reference in the presentation by Ms. Redwood, as far as I know, at least with me as a co-author, does not exist." Berman did, in fact, publish a paper with a similar title in 2008, but it was in a different journal and involved different animals, and it came to radically different conclusions. In other words, someone had misrepresented Dr. Berman's words for their own purposes, and either that someone was Ms. Redwood or someone who convinced her of that. And it's caused a lot of controversy and anxiety among parents and others regarding vaccines, obviously. And when asked for comments, Ms. Redwood and the Children's Health Defense Group did not respond. Clearly, somebody purposefully misdirected, misinterpreted, or just outright lied about the findings in this paper for their own purposes. My suspicion is either Miss Redwood or someone in that group found Dr. Berman's actual paper, told Ms. Redwood about it, and then rearranged the conclusions to fit their own purposes, hoping that it would be similar enough to the actual paper that nobody would look that closely. That's all I can come up with. So why did the CDC and the DHS decide to prohibit the use of thimerosal in vaccines? Well, that's a good question. Partly it was a PR move. Thimerosal has been used less and less often in the last decade or so anyway, so banning it really didn't make that much of a difference. It was only used in 1 or 2 multi-dose flu vaccines, and all the rest had dropped thimerosal. No childhood vaccines have used it in many years. Secondly, it was probably a bit of a paean. You like that word, paean? That'll be our word of the week. That's P-A-E-A-N. A paean to Secretary Kennedy and indirectly to President Trump. It gave them something to crow about, I guess. Okay, so is it good or bad, though? Probably neither, at least from a medical standpoint. Major effect, obviously, is political, and I'll let you all argue about that. That's not my business. But someone did purposefully lie to a federal body, and there have been no consequences from that. Like I said, this podcast episode is going to be short, so we're going to move on to music right now. Our clips from local New Orleans music clubs seem to be very popular. I've gotten several comments about it, so I've got another one here. This one includes a certain blues doctor at the Spotlight Bar and Grill in Metairie, Louisiana, which is a suburb of New Orleans. It's a little outside the standard tourist district, but the food is good. The music is always fun. So if you really want an authentic taste of New Orleans local music, go ahead and check it out. And that's about all we had for this week. We do have a number of new subscribers that I'd like to share with you. Those include my friend Wendell from Wendell Bigfoot 911, Verax, that's Verex, that's his handle online, also from the Bigfoot community, Murray Evans, Drew's Scottish Vlogs, which I always enjoy listening to. They're more of a paranormal type program, and Paniti Jantine, and I hope I pronounced that name correctly. She's from our wrestling community. And I want to say thanks to all of you. Please continue to share the channel with your friends. And then finally, as I say each week, please watch next week's podcast. Okay? See you later.